sustained, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Okay, sorry about that. I didn't hear anything before that. Commissioner Blanova is absent with prior notice. Commissioner Sprague.
Here.
Commissioner Kalis is here. Commissioner Yennek.
Present.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Creech.
Present.
And Chairman Johnson.
Here.
All right.
Ms. Nyes, any changes to the agenda tonight?
No changes.
All right. Citizens' concerns and comments, I'm assuming we don't have any. You didn't get any phone messages or write-ins?
No.
Okay.
Do we need to do the pledge to be official?
We did.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You did it before I joined. I didn't think.
Yeah, we didn't hear it on the broadcast, so.
Sorry about that.
Well, technical difficulty. Okay, first up is consent item for Weber Flavors at 685 Chaddock Drive for approval of a monument sign. Anything to add to this one, Ms. Nyes?
No.
Okay. We do have a condition on it as part of the
Yes,
consent.
that they have to replace a crabapple tree with a minimum caliper size of 3 inches, and it shall be installed by October 15th, 2020, per the exhibit prepared by Edgar Weber, received by the village on June 16th, 2020.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Yednick and Commissioner Creech, roll call.
All right. Commissioner Yennek.
Yes.
Commissioner Creech.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague.
Yes.
Commissioner Kalis votes yes. Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Items for review, docket number 2020-7, The Landing, formerly known as the Whitley. Amendment to their special use at 156 West Dundee Road. Ms. Nyes?
I don't have anything.
And the petitioner is here. Come on up. Tell us what's going on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Mata, representing the Landing this evening. The request is to amend the PUD that's in place currently with the removal of a fountain feature that's at the south side of the building, similar to what you see here in the north side, along with some curbing that goes along with it.
And the reason for
The
that?
reason for it, obviously, is, I apologize.
It's for our audience.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, you're not talking to anybody, right? During the cooler month, the winter months, actually, snow removal and ice control is critical in a community such as the Landing. In an assisted living, there's zero tolerance, as everyone could imagine. And on the south side of the building, there's no sunlight. The ice just builds and builds and builds, and with no place to put the snow or any of that, it just becomes a real maintenance issue. And a safety issue, to be honest with you, because it's just, the ice just continues to grow. So the reason for it is that.
Okay. We have nobody in the audience, and so let's go to the commission. Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, Dave.
Good evening. This is a little easier to talk to here. Yeah, right.
My first question, with that fountain, was that going to be the same size, the one that's installed on the front?
Yes, exactly the same. The original plan called out for 2 of those.
And are you saying that there wouldn't be enough room for snow removal if that was installed?
So once we have the curbing around it, it's not just a fountain, it's a curbing around it. If it was just a matter of the fountain and wanting to place it in a different location, we're happy to entertain the idea with some direction from you guys here.
That was going to be my next question is if it could be relocated. There seems to be quite a array of different spots that it could be moved to.
Okay, again, we're happy to entertain any of those ideas, or if, a trade of sorts, whether it's trees or anything along those lines, we're happy to discuss anything's on the table at this point, obviously.
Okay. That property in the back with the trails, is that yours also?
It's kind of we'll call it a community property. We're maintaining it, and there's some work that we still need to do back there yet, yes.
Yeah, I noticed that the wood structure that's back there is about ready to fall over.
Yes. We
Okay,
actually
good.
have, yeah, we heard about it. Mike, the inspector, actually gave me a call the other day and advised me of it. We did order some material, expected to show up tomorrow. I'm not sure what time it is, but it is expected to show up tomorrow. And we'll get people on there Friday at the very latest to get that thing straightened out.
Kind of looks like that area back there is a little neglected as far as maintenance is concerned.
I won't deny that, and it looks a lot neglected. We have since sought out new landscaping services to help dress that area up. There is also part of that original punch list that was sent out that has us committed to replacing the walking path with new stone and putting it together in a way that we wouldn't have the weed problem that we had initially over there.
Okay, good. Would there be any chance of possibly installing the fountain in that piece of land back there at all?
I'm sure that, so from my understanding, the synagogue was going to be the primary user, so to speak, of that area. I'm sure that we could sit down with them and with your permission, obviously, and come up to some sort of an agreed upon area if that's what the general consensus is.
Yeah, I would like to, personally, I would like to see the fountain still installed, just maybe in a different location.
Okay. I mean, again, I'm happy to, have those discussions with whomever, to find the best location possible. We have to keep in mind that closest to that wood structure would be ideal just because there's power there already. And in order to get that thing functional, power is key.
Right. My last question is the front fountain, is that functional?
It not functional just yet. We do have, again, with landscaping services and what have you, we did get power run to it. Apparently that was one of the things that was missed during the construction. So we did have to pull power source from a different place. We do have that in place now and plan to, within the next 2 weeks, I would say, to have that thing fully functional.
Okay, great. All right, well, that's all the questions I have. I don't know if the other commissioners would entertain maybe a condition that we include that fountain somewhere else in the back, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you for presenting and making this right. I was curious in the front with the fountain, is it currently set up how the original approved plans are set up, or was there a walkway that was going to be introduced, or?
There's somewhat of a walkway off of the driveway, but as far as I know, I believe the walkways that are called out for it are in place.
No, it's not exactly per the plan.
I'm kind of looking at that here right now.
Yeah, my plan's not up there. I don't know, Luca, can you switch my,
Oh, no, it looks like a horseshoe.
There you
I
go.
suppose, right.
yeah, if you look, there's like the two paths on the side. It's hard to see. Let's see. These two, this one, and this are in, but this part around here isn't in.
It's a single solid square slab is what
like
it's
a
set
big-
on right now, or a circular perhaps, but I know that
Yeah, so
The middle.
it's not this configuration. So
So
that was
then I guess-
that was the condition that staff had asked for
Yeah.
this walking path to be put in. It to be constructed like it's shown in the approved plan.
That was my question, I suppose, was what plans do you have for making that front walkway the same as the approved plan?
Well,
This is
this is Commissioner Yena. Can I interject for a second? I mean, I'm looking at the drawing.
Sure.
It looks like what you're talking about, that horseshoe on the drawing, it looks like it's marked as sod. And I think the paths that you're talking about might be the square white on either side of the fountain. That might be like a walkway from the sidewalk to the parking lot. Because it looks like the note on that horseshoe shape is sod.
I gotta zoom in on mine. Hold on.
Yeah, it does say sod, and it does not show sod in the photo, so what I see in the picture is not what's in the diagram, so I was just curious if you were aware of that, if you had any plans to.
Truthfully, I was not aware of it, and if that's a condition that we need to address, we're prepared to address it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the general theme of this petition is that you're just making what you need to do in real life match the approved plan. One of them is by omission, and I think this other one needs to be by modification.
Okay.
Not sure why they had put it in that way, if the plan did not say that, but we should.
I wish I could speak for it, but unfortunately, I wasn't there during that time, so.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, so just, if you could acknowledge that you will get that straightened
yes,
out.
we will address it,
according to the
so.
approved plan, then I have no further questions about this. Thank you.
Yes, we will address it so it mirrors what's shown on the plan.
Commissioner Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All my questions have already been asked and answered, so I have nothing further.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson? You were muted, but I think you said you didn't have anything.
All right, no questions.
Commissioner Yednick?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clarify for the record that we get our compass points correct, I believe you're eliminating the north fountain and keeping the south fountain. You said it opposite.
That is correct. I apologize.
All right, just I want to make sure because some of the drawings were notated incorrectly. The south fountain on the creek side is or the north fountain on the creek side is what's not.
It's easy to do, right?
Goof it up myself.
Right.
And as far as making a condition to relocate the fountain, I guess I'm not in favor of that as a condition, just from the aspect of I think that's putting a burden on the petitioner because now they're going to have to, if they don't own that property in the back, they're going to have to negotiate some kind of an easement. They're going to have to run the power. If they want to do that on their own, I think it would be nice to ask for, but I'm not in favor of making that a condition personally. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Some of my questions have been answered already. As far as relocating the fountain, I think once you would move it off the parking lot, then it's going to become the synagogue's problem at some point, as far as maintenance.
I would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Not probably, I definitely would agree with that, given the standpoint of current owners of the building.
Yeah. So I understand the need to, the reasoning behind not putting it in that circular drive makes sense. Obviously, it was taken out of the plans long ago.
Oh, yeah, probably, right. With it not being there in place, right.
Yeah, because otherwise
Yeah, we'd have curbing
you'd have
there, if
curbing
nothing
to
else.
remove,
Right,
so. So that's probably been 3 years.
We're happy to, again, make some accommodations with some trees or additional landscape or something like that to help freshen that whole area up. We're definitely not opposed to any of that sort of idea. Something a little hardier that wouldn't really require much maintenance, so to speak.
Right.
But definitely not just asking for a complete freebie out of the whole deal.
I don't know that we have a shortage of landscaping.
Or even in the park or the property.
The green space.
Well, the green space, right.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know that there's a need for anything.
Don't get me wrong, on behalf of the owners, I'm sure they would accept any sort of a give me that we can pull from it, but at this point, it kind of is what it is.
It's been a long process.
Without a doubt.
Well, Commissioner Sprague brought up the thought of relocating the fountain, so let's first do a poll on that. Commissioner Sprague, you would like to see it?
And, there's also room on each side of the drive where you pull up to the back door to have the fountain relocated to one of those areas also if there was a concern about it being in that area that the synagogue's involved.
Well, if I might interrupt,
Yeah,
the area in which I believe you're speaking of are the two courtyards that flank the doorways going into the south side? Right, on either side where the plantings are, so is
Yes.
that correct? Those
Yes.
areas are dedicated for memory care residents, so they have the ability to go out and actually gather some fresh air, if you will. So on behalf of the residents and the owner of the building, it might be somewhat of a hazard to have that out there because it's really not large enough to not be pushed over, and could potentially become a problem with residents either on it or around it or something along those lines.
Yeah, both of those areas are fenced in for the residents to go outside and get some fresh air.
I understand.
So you would still like consideration to move the fountain though? Or are you okay with eliminating it?
I was just thinking of the residents that are going to be living there, that it would still be something nice for them to see from their rooms. So yeah, I'm in favor of it still being moved.
Okay. Commissioner Creech?
I don't believe the fountain's necessary.
Commissioner Kalis?
Same as Creech, I don't believe it's necessary.
Commissioner Thompson?
I don't think it's necessary.
And Commissioner Yednick?
No as a condition.
I'm sorry, what?
To make it a condition, I would let the owner decide if they want to.
Oh, okay.
add something in the future, but I don't want to make it a condition.
Understood. Okay, so we won't need to add any condition for that. Like I said, I think the village is happy with the landscaping. Once the pergola gets
It's straightened out, yeah.
And what are you doing with the path? Just,
We're going to actually excavate everything that's in there right now out and haul it off site. We're going to put down fabric, some compactable stone, and then 4 inches of that crushed granite on top of it. And once that's all complete, the landscaper is going to come through and dress up.
yeah, I understand the village, had you removed the asphalt?
Well, right, the previous owners wanted asphalt back there for some reason, so.
And yet they still had weeds growing
Yeah,
through
it was, I wish I could. Right.
Okay, Marcy, anything else on this?
No, but we do have the condition.
All right. Let us read the condition then.
The water fountain feature on the south side of the building located along Dundee Road shall be completed pursuant to the approved landscape plan prepared by SAS Architects and Planners dated November 5th, 2014, and be functional. Compliance shall be completed by September 1st, 2020, and a final certificate of occupancy shall not be issued until inspected and approved by village staff.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Kalis and Creech.
Commissioner Kalis votes yes. Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague?
Yes.
Commissioner Yednick?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. Marcy will be sending you
Okay,
I'll send you the information.
perfect.
the paperwork.
Pleasure meeting you in person this evening. Thank you, everybody.
I actually got a tour of the place Monday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you think? Came out
Pretty
came out
nice,
All things considered, right? Been a long haul.
Yes, it has.
Thanks again.
I've seen it from the dirt up. All right, moving on. Docket PC 20-9, appearance review for 680 and 700 Northgate Parkway. Ms. Nyes?
I don't have anything.
Nothing, okay. Petitioner's here, please give us your name and business address.
Hi, I'm Anthony Pkwy. I am here representing McNelly Services, the general contractor, and on behalf of the owner, Stream Realty.
Okay, and explain what we're doing here.
So originally we had permitted the space as a spec suite with no potential tenant. Our client, the owner of the building, had a potential tenant that came along and wanted just half the space. So we went through a redesign process, and part of that was moving two of the windows outward a little further,
Okay.
as well as revising the entrance to accommodate both potential suites.
So now it would be a shared entrance?
Shared vestibule, yes, and then two spaces.
Okay,
Which the 680 is a permit set that we have in for review right now. I think we actually just got back our first round of comments, and that entails the two windows that you see to the left on this rendering. The other four windows are all part of the 700 build-out. And that was a previously permitted set that is under construction right now.
okay.
So maybe I'll just provide
Yeah,
some
go ahead.
additional background here. So the building permit came through for 700 Northgate. When we first looked at it, the elevation with this door and the four windows was shown as existing. And so the permit got processed through. Then they started construction and they came back for a revision, and now this showed as proposed. So we caught that, and that's when we said you need to come in for this appearance review to deal with the facade changes because it's visible from the public way. And soon after, we saw the permit come in for 680 Northgate, so we put them together since there was the same contractor and they could put them on the same elevation.
Okay.
So the work for 700 is pretty much done. The work for 680, which is just the two windows, is not done. And it's basically going from this side of the building, is mainly the panels, not a lot of windows, and just the standard door. And now it'll have more windows and the shared entrance. What they're proposing fits in well with what's currently there. On the east side of the building, there's an entrance for a business that, has a vestibule entrance. I think maybe on the west side there's one.
Yeah, are you talking about on the other ends of the building
Yeah,
now?
on the ends, there's some-
And both those are occupied at this point.
Yeah. So it was kind of just blank in the middle before.
And I apologize, I didn't realize that they were listed as existing. I thought this was just the relocation of them. I didn't realize that
No,
this is a whole, yeah, okay.
that's how the whole thing came about.
Okay. Let's see, Commissioner Yednick.
just want to make sure that I understand, because when Marcy was going through and saying this side of the building, it's hard to follow from the, so on the rendering, there's the doorway, and if I'm facing the doorway, there's 4 windows to the left, and there's 2 windows to the right. And so for the petitioner, on the actual photos, I'm just seeing 2 and 2. So are you still building out 2 more windows if I'm facing the door to the left?
Yes, if the 680 build out gets approved and we move forward for it.
Okay,
Yes.
that was my next question. Which suite is 680 and which suite is 700? Okay,
And so actually I might have, it is a little confusing too, because the 2 windows just to the left of the door are actually going to be in the 680 space. However, they were, or what I thought was permitted in the 700 set. So those are kind of just openings into the warehouse at this point. Those will become part of 680. The 2 other new windows, those 2 that, right there all the way to the left, those are completely new in the 680 set. For all intents and purposes, these are all new openings that need approval.
okay, yeah, so it's all, so most of it's already built. The only thing that's not built is 2 more windows.
Correct.
All right, then the other thing then on the pictures, and I'm sure somebody else will bring this up, is when I look at the pictures that were provided there, it looks like you filled in a door. Not this, yeah, that picture.
Yes.
So that's all gonna be cleaned up, underneath the windows, you're cleaning all that up, right? You've got looks like maybe concrete overspray or whatever from their installation.
Yeah, exactly. It's, some grout that ran down. I actually already had somebody out there power washing and painting. So that should all be cleaned up to date.
And what's gonna be necessary to clean up that door that was filled in?
So it was a process of grouting the obvious line around the opening and grinding it down and then repainting it to match.
So is the original surface painted, or is the original surface, is the material give the color, or was it a painted surface before?
Are you saying where that infill happened? That used to be a door. I don't know that I understand your question.
It's okay, so if I look at the top of the door and the bottom of the door, I've got like the dark gray and then the tan on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So is that whole panel from the new door all the way to the panel by the window, that whole panel, is that painted today, or is it?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that when you do paint over it, or the bottom panel, is that also painted?
Yeah, exactly. And so that we're gonna paint it to just blend in basically to what you see right now, those exact colors.
My concern is, and I apologize, I didn't go out and look at it personally, but my concern is that if the material was colored and then it's gonna be painted, we're still gonna end up seeing the fill on the door. But if it's paint and we're just refreshing the paint, then I think that'll blend all right then.
Yeah, I have not seen the work yet. I think it was performed over the last day or so, but I would imagine it will blend in very nicely.
Okay, that's all I had, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I was mostly concerned about the spot where the door used to be as well, but it sounds like that's going to be taken care of, so.
Okay. Commissioner Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have one real quick question here. That metal canopy, does that need primer or new paint?
So again, yeah, that was something that was already painted, and it was painted to match the already existing canopies on either end of the building that Marcy was talking about that are both occupied now. So that canopy was just designed to match the existing conditions and has to date been painted to match.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Blood. Did I get to everybody?
Kalis.
Kalis. Go ahead.
Just to reiterate, Commissioner Yennick's, the current facade is painted. It's not the color of the material.
Correct.
And you are going to be refreshing the paint. Okay. We don't prefer painting material, but obviously if it's already there, I was just concerned about refreshing it all, but if you're redoing it all, obviously you want to get those water stains and all that, whatever that is out there. So as long as you're refreshing it while you're doing all this, I guess, those two existing windows, are those the ones that are into the warehouse?
The two to the right are actually windows that are in an office in the 700 suite.
To the
two
left.
to the left.
So,
I'm sorry, the two to the right are in an office in the 700 suite. The two to the left are existing in the warehouse and will become part of the 680 unit.
okay, I was going to ask, with the 4 windows in a row, I was going to ask why would you have windows into the warehouse, but the answer is most likely because they're already there, right? You're just...
Well, no, the answer is because if we do end up building the 680 unit, those windows will become part of an office.
That won't be a warehouse anymore. in the
No,
future.
exactly, yeah.
Got it. Okay. If I had a warehouse, I wouldn't want people being able to look in there and look at all my merchandise too.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's gonna, in the future, it's gonna be office space, they will have window treatments, I'm sure. Okay, great. That is all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. So right now you have a tenant lined up for the 700 unit, or?
I'm not in talks with ownership that much, that regularly, whether or not that deal is going to go forward or not.
But you're building it out for?
Yeah,
a potential
exactly. So,
customer.
yes,
Okay.
we're expecting it to happen.
Okay.
Could always fall through, is my answer.
All right. I had nothing else. Any other questions from the commission? Nope. Marcy, do we have any conditions on this?
No.
No conditions. So then I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Oh, that was like a three-way tie.
I heard Creech and Yednick.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Nick didn't open his mouth. It was Creech and Sprague.
Okay, well then. All right, so Commissioner Creech,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague,
Yes.
Commissioner Kalis votes yes, Commissioner Yednick,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
and Chairman Johnson.
Yes. And again, Marcy will get the paperwork to you and
Thank you all very much for your time, and apologies for the confusion with
No,
the
that's okay.
existing versus proposed. Thank you.
you bet.
Thanks. Good night.
All right, next up, we have approval of minutes of the regular meeting of June 10th, 2020, including findings of fact for docket numbers 2020-6, 2020-9, and 2020-11.
So moved.
Second.
Yednick
All
and
right.
Sprague?
Commissioner Yednick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague,
Yes.
Commissioner Kalis votes yes, Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Creech,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Other business. Let's start with Commissioner Creech. Got anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, nothing tonight.
All right, Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just hoping maybe this will be our last e-meeting. That's all I have.
Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you very much. I was curious, has there been an update about potentially meeting in the room and spreading out and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, hopefully that's going to start in July. We'll get you more information hopefully next week.
Okay. If July 22nd, I believe we have a meeting, if it's not figured out by then, I will need to request absence.
Yeah, July 22nd will definitely be in person.
Okay, gotcha. I'll talk to you about that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Yednick?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Even though we're in phase 4, I'm just begging everybody and the public that the virus isn't beat, so stay careful. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcy, anything that, coming down the pipe that you can tell us about?
Nope, I don't have anything.
All right. Mallory, you did tell me, just before the meeting that the roll call vote thing is now law?
Yes, well, if we're not physically present for the quorum. So once we go back to in-person meetings when everyone's here, we won't need to do the roll call for everything. We can go back to our normal procedure, but it's when when we don't have a physical presence of a quorum and have a virtual one.
Anything else happening?
No?
Okay. And I had nothing this time around either. So, last chance, anybody? Then I would like a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second.
All right.
Kalis and Yednick.
Commissioner Kalis votes yes. Commissioner Yadnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague.
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Creech.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes, we are adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night, thanks.